Yo, it's your boy Uncle Pre with another episode of the Unfiltered podcast. We're here in the studio again, and this week we're trying out a different setting, a different surrounding. Just want to see what this studio and this room's like. Had a few challenges with the other room recently, so I was like, I'm going to give this one a go. Keep it a bit more intimate. This week I have Niketa on the podcast. She's come through, she's reached out. She's a Jay Shetty coach as well. I'm not going to introduce her too much. I'm going to let her do that herself. But yeah, thank you for coming through.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah?
Yep,
Why don't
definitely.
You give the audience a little introduction about yourself?
So I'm a Jay Shetty certified life coach, similar to you. I guess the reason I became a life coach, my call to it was because of the challenges I've been through in my own life. I've been through quite a difficult, traumatic health battle, and I live with it every day still. I'm on the kind of mend now. But even with that as well, I went through quite a traumatic marriage. Went through some psychological abuse, had to kind of navigate through that as well as my health. And there's a lot that I learned, lots of tools that helped me get through the situations. And I want to share those with people. That's why I thought, what's my calling now? I'm a primary school teacher by profession. And during lockdown, I kind of questioned my purpose. And I was like, there's more in life than teaching. Like, there's more that I want to do. Like, I've got so much wisdom, so much that I've learned through my own journey. And I want to share that with people. I want to give people the strength that I found myself through my own journey. And I want to share some of the tools that help me, to help others with whatever they're going through in life.
Fair. I like that. Okay, so let's talk about the Jay Shetty journey to begin with. Seeing as we started similar time.
I think we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think we were kind of the first cohort.
Yeah.
Maybe during 2020, did we say? Yeah. So, yes, you know how things just fall into place? Like, you ask the universe, what do I do? And then someone sends you something. So it's my best friend actually said, I've come across this kind of, I think you'd be amazing at this, becoming a life coach. And she'd seen the Jay Shetty ad that I had. And I'd been looking at it the day before and I was thinking, wow, this is it. And at that time, I had the exact money in my account to pay for the course. It was like, just pay it, don't think about it, get on with it. And also, if anything, do it for your own self-development. And I love Jay. I love him. I just resonate with his message. I love his style. I love the fact that he's so humble. I read his books. I was like, it's a great person to kind of learn from. So during lockdown, I started to train to be the life coach, did all the work. As you know, there's all those presentation.
Yeah.
There's all those tasks that we have to do with the lessons. And it's full on. At the same time, I was homeschooling, teaching, managing a household, but got through it. I think it took like a year and a half and started coaching during lockdown. And then it sort of kicked off from there.
And are you coaching right now?
I am, yes. So my niche is mainly specialising with women who've gone through divorce, because I've gone through something similar, people that have experienced some abuse, health issues, people that just want to love themselves.
Yeah.
I think there's so much stuff out there about self-love, but what is self-love and how can you love yourself? So I feel really passionate about that. That's like one of the big areas that I work on with women.
No, that's mad. I have I won't say a similar niche, but the kind of topics you've touched base on in terms of the people you help and the self-love aspect of things. I shouldn't say it's a hot topic. It's a topic that I don't think many people within our community and our generation really dive into until later on within their mid-20s, mid-30s, a little bit later into their 40s, and they finally realize, oh shit, maybe I'm not doing things the way that would truly fulfill and resonate with me. And all of a sudden they just get hit with this wall of emotions, and then it all just comes pouring out, and then hopefully we can start seeing changes, etc. But no, it's mad.
Also, we're not taught to self-love from a young age, are we? We hear these negative messages growing up at school with friends. Our family are about kind of making us want to aspire, get a good job, get good qualifications, get married, have kids. It's not about stopping and pausing through the whole chaos of life.
Yeah.
And just having that time to love yourself through it, and just like valuing your achievements, and knowing what you've become as a person, knowing what you've gone through to achieve those things. We don't stop and think and pause often, do we?
It's not something, like you said, it's not something we've been taught to just stop and pause. And it's so interesting when you can finally take that step back and literally reflect on what the hell you've been doing for a certain period of time, and then come to terms and realize, this isn't cool. I can't keep this running anymore.
No.
This isn't fair for me. It's not fair for the people around me. And I'm not living life to the best of my abilities, unfortunately, because I've been doing things and I've been nurtured in a way where it's just going to produce X, Y, and Z number of results. And that's not me.
Yeah, but also what you said about it's not good for the people around you.
Yeah.
Like if your cup is empty, you can't pour from it, can you?
Exactly.
So you have to fill yourself up, and it's so important. And people feel selfish for doing that. They feel selfish for taking that time out for themselves, do something that makes them happy, that fulfills them. But you've got to remember that when you're in a really good place and you're happy and you're vibrating high, and that filters out everywhere in all areas of your life. And if you've got children and a family, that filters out to them too. So everyone benefits from it in the end. But we're not taught to focus on ourselves.
We're definitely not. Exactly what you said there. We've not been taught that. And it's a topic I've had with a number of people on the podcast who have come through. They've shared their stories in regards to like rushing into marriage, then getting divorced, narcissistic traits that have popped up within relationships, even personal relationships, like with family members, etc. And it's like, And I'm of the sort where I realize the generations above probably weren't taught anything different. So they've just been nurtured this way, and it's just happened consistently throughout life. And unfortunately for them, when they pass on that kind of parenting towards, I'm very tough loving, but at the same time, like it can be quite traumatic for the person in the seat right now. But the parents who possibly never had a podcast stream to like listen to understand this kind of stuff, or an Uncle Pri or yourself to then work with, to then think, oh damn, like I am lacking a lot of self-love and I'm now pushing that onto my children, etc. Yeah, it's a very, very weird
also,
space.
They didn't have time for all that, because imagine how, I don't know about your parents, but they came from East Africa. They settled here with no clothes. They were literally living in a house where they had to give their wages to their family, their parent, and it was about work, to earn and to survive. So where's the time to even think about loving yourself? Like it's a bit mamsy-pamsy for them. They're like, just get on with it. Type thing.
No, it's so true, and it's scary as well, because that's how I grew up, was get through school, great opportunities, get through college, go to university, get a good job, work your way up, and just be very successful, settle down, have kids, have a house, etc. But it's like throughout that process, no one truly ever asked, are you okay? Like,
are you enjoying life?
Yeah.
Are you actually experiencing and enjoying life?
And I said it on one of the episodes where like I was talking about potential, and I went down a path because it was pointed out to me that would be the best thing for you to do. In hindsight, was it? All right, okay, cool. I am where I am right now, and I've had a number of experiences going to uni, studying maths, becoming an accountant, getting chartered, etc. But if I could go back in time and ask myself the question, this is what you're going to go study, or you're going to start coaching from a very early age, you're going to learn psychology, philosophy, or something very, very different. Also,
why was that the best thing to do?
Because
how do we define happiness and success, right?
We don't. Well, back then
or
we're
success.
Not. Yeah. Well, success, I feel, is defined by what everyone else is doing, and you need to be meeting that standard. And I feel like now,
are those people happy?
No, of course not. Of course not. Hence why I try and change that definition of success right now with the clients I speak to. I'm like, forget what everyone else is doing. What would make you truly happy? What's successful to you? Because if you're earning a certain salary, as an example, but you've consistently got a smile on your face, whatever you're doing in regards to your job is just filling you with the utmost joy. You have a balanced lifestyle where you're able to cater for your family or your friends, etc. Isn't that a lot more nicer?
No, but money gives you opportunities, it opens doors. But is everyone who's wealthy happy? That's the question. And you want more and more and more, and you still compare yourself to others, and you strive for more. And then, at what point do you stop and just say, right, I'm happy with the way that I am, the way things are. I'm content. I'm at peace. Right?
I feel like in the UK, I'm just using us as examples. We're so closed off to the outer world, and when I wanted to quit, when I quit initially work to go travel, my plan was to go Kenya for a couple of months and do some work with like animals and conservation work, and I wanted to help with schools and stuff. And I realized at the time...
I've done that, by the way.
Have you done that?
I've worked in a medical camp and a school, but I've done the travelling as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I worked in
nuts.
Zambia and Mombasa. It was amazing.
That's nuts.
Experience in my 20s, I did that. Yeah.
So I really wanted to do that because I said to myself, I just want to do some giving for a change versus like just earning. And work said to me, well, look, why don't you take like 6 months and then come back?
Yeah.
And I was like, the problem with me taking 6 months is that I then have to come back. What if I love it out there? What if I love the conditions out there? I am completely ignored to whatever's going on in the UK. I've had such a great upbringing, I suppose, in terms of nice house. We're not millionaires, but like nice house.
You're grateful for what you had.
Exactly.
You had a good life.
Lots of luxuries in their own shape, form, and capacity. But like, what if I enjoy that lifestyle where there isn't much internet, or there isn't the whole scene of you need to look like this to go out? What if I just enjoy living in these conditions?
Because you feel so good, don't you?
And so that's what,
happiness. That's peace.
It's
fulfillment in life.
Exactly. So this is what makes me think, like, because we're so closed off to the outer world, we don't really know what true happiness is. And I brought this up to like one of my clients recently, and I said to her, listen, if you flew out to, let's say, Southeast Asia, somewhere there, went to one of these remote islands, was just doing some work, whatever kind of money didn't mean anything. Like, you had enough just to get by, but it wasn't the be all and end all. You tell me you like fresh fruits, you like fresh food, etc., and you had that all out in abundance. Would everything else matter? You had no phone with you, no internet, no Wi-Fi. Would anything else matter? And she started thinking about it, and it was just a case of, I've never deeped it like that. And I was like, exactly my point. You haven't deeped it like that because you're so worried about what everyone else is doing. You need to keep up. You need to get married soon. You need to start having kids soon. You need to be earning X, Y, and Z. You need to have this much.
Precious to do all these things.
And it's like, why?
Because I think women have that biological clock that's ticking. So by a certain age, you do need to. I felt that way growing up. Like, I had my kids at 30 and 33. It was like I had to have it before I was 35, because then you get complications in life and you're too old. But also, I worked really hard. I became a deputy head teacher my 9th year of teaching. Like, I wanted to become a head teacher. I was very highly ambitious, and I was like, I'm going to get to that point. Then I'm going to have my children. Then I'll be a head teacher, and then I'm sorted for the rest of my life. However, life took a different turn for me.
But like,
and I did not expect that to happen to me. Like, it was,
and that's the thing. We
just not my life plan.
When things,
you plan things too much.
Exactly.
Yeah, and things do not turn out how you want them to be.
And I look at it as a game of cards, right? Like, you get dealt a hand. Sometimes you get dealt a bad hand. It's just, how do you continue playing the game?
That's it. Exactly.
You don't just fold them and give up. It's how do you try and find a way of navigating through, because the game ain't over. And when people are dealt bad hands, yes, it's tough. Yes, it's difficult to deal with. But it's a case of, what are you doing next? Are you throwing them out now, or are you holding it down? And like, I get the whole concept with like the body clock. I understand like some there are some complications that come of it, but there are also rarer cases where people are able to have kids.
They do.
Later
I think
down the
nowadays people are having them older, aren't they? And they're freezing their eggs and doing all sorts of, whatever works for people.
And when you think of it, it's like, I had this with another conversation with another client. I asked him the question. I said, "You want children, right?" "Yeah." "Okay, cool. What is it about children that you really want?" "Well, I want to give someone an upbringing, etc., etc." And went into it, and I was like, "All right, fine. Your situation right now, single possibly, for a little bit longer, because you're still doing this healing process. We understand that. If you just want to have children, are there any other ways you can have children? Are there any other ways you can still provide that breath of knowledge, that warmth, etc., to a child?" "Yeah, it's not the same." I'm like, according to who? Like, you could adopt if you wanted to.
I guess biologically it's not the same. Like, you want them to be your own from you.
But what's so important about it being biologically? Like, elaborate on that.
It wouldn't bother me personally, because I've always loved kids. I used to work at Sunday school growing up. I taught kids. I was around children. I love children. I have a lot of love for the children that I teach right now. But I guess for some people, they feel it's something they've created themselves that is genetically identical to them.
Yeah.
And it's part of their own, and it's just,
what
it's
if
a descendant.
I get that. What if your biological being doesn't allow you to have kids? Then what?
Then if you want them really well, then really, really badly, then you would have them, like, have a child that's you'd adopt a child, wouldn't you? Obviously, right?
So what's so important about then creating one?
I mean, everyone feels different about this, right?
No, 100%.
I guess if you can't have your own children naturally. I mean, I know someone I heard recently who froze her eggs and is a single mother and had kids, and it's the best thing that she ever did. And she's Asian, and obviously, it's one of these. We won't go into it, but she did that, because she wanted something of her own. But I guess if you can't, then if you're capable of being that person, I mean, I was in a relationship with someone who was a lot younger than me, and we couldn't have children. And I even talked about surrogacy. I would love that person's child as if it's my own, because it would be part of them. But I'd love a child that I'd adopt as well, because for me, there's loads of children without homes, right?
Yeah.
So I do that, but not everyone feels that way. You know,
It's-
for me, I can give that love.
Yeah.
It's like I've got cats at home, and they're not biologically mine, but I
Yeah.
love them. I kiss them and I call them bache and beta, you know, like
Yeah.
the things that mums do to kids, you know, and I talk to them like they're my own. But not everyone's capable of feeling that way. And
It's-
also, when you do have your own kids, naturally, some women can't even bond with their own children, which is another whole separate issue because of, you know, postnatal depression and all that, which is very sad. It's very tough. But I also have friends who found it really difficult to bond with their newborn, and that went on for quite a while. So I mean, it depends on if you have that natural maternal instinct. I think if you do, then you can love any child, whether it's your own or not.
It's a topic for another day as well. I don't want to digress from what I wanted to talk to you about today, but it's a very, very interesting one when I look at it from different angles, because when I try and understand what it is people truly want, it's a case of, do you necessarily need X, Y, and Z as part of the formula to get what you really want? Because if that's, you're trying so hard to get that right now to then end with this result, that isn't working for you, and you're very impatient right now with the process, it's not going to happen. You may rush into a relationship, get pregnant, have a child with someone you don't really want to have a child with. You realize,
I mean, I did that.
So
I get it completely. Yeah.
So it's all about really like honing into what it like where's you.
Although I did want a child,
Yeah.
I won't say I didn't want a child, but it was very rushed in
Yeah.
my relationship, and I did think, you know, by a certain age, I want to have my children,
Yeah.
and I love my kids, and you know, I don't regret any of my marriage. They gave me these two beautiful human beings who are always going to be with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying completely. People do, because I think there is this pressure that you have to conceive and have a child of your own. It's all part of what we've kind of been told when we're children, right?
Gotta try and change that narrative, because I feel like the minute we are able to possibly stop people thinking they have to do X, Y, and Z, are going to be the moments where people start living a lot more freely and a lot more fulfilled in regards to, they may not have this right now, but
And
they
that
have
pressure is just off you, right?
Exactly. You've got a very, very difficult journey that you've gone through, right? And I definitely want you to share some of that here today, partly because I feel putting a different spin on it, there can be a lot of motivation that we can take from that particular story to be where you are right now. So yeah, just give the audience a bit more of a...
So I had my daughter when I was about 30, 31, and 5 days after I started losing my vision in my right eye. Had no idea what's going on, spent the whole night in hospital being examined by professors of neurology, and the word MS was mentioned, but had no clue what that was. And 3 months later, I had another relapse where I was dizzy, weak, had nausea, lost my taste, couldn't walk, was in hospital for 2 weeks. My daughter was 3 months old. And I remember, you know, it's things like having to have a shower with a nurse, being there, and because they can't leave you alone. It was that bad. Fast forward, had my son, had 2 relapses then, lost my vision both times. At one point, I couldn't see in both eyes. It was very traumatic. I remember at one point, I was trying to look for something in my kitchen drawer. My mum was there, bless her. My parents have been amazing through my journey. And I couldn't find something, and it was literally right there, but I couldn't see. And I remember my mum even saying, "Oh no, it does." Like, it was really hidden. That's why you could see it, because also she felt the pain for me that I couldn't see that. It was bad. Things progressed. I had to give up my career. I was a deputy head teacher. I wanted to become head, as I said earlier, but I couldn't imagine myself having 2 children under the age of 4 with a health condition and doing that role. And I'd worked really hard. Like, I went to university, did 2 master's degrees. I did a master's in teaching. I was highly ambitious. You know, I had this plan for life, as we said. But then, like I said, for some reason, I had to have MS. Don't know how, why me? I questioned it for years, but it's, you know, I don't regret it. It's like, it's part of me. It's made me who I am today. And I can share that with people now and tell my story. So 2016, one of my best friends committed suicide. It destroyed a lot of us. You know, it was painful. I relapsed really badly, started to deteriorate really badly. I wasn't able to walk. My mum would take me for a walk literally on my road, and my legs would just seize up. And this is someone who danced, like, from 2013, I used to perform with Jay Kumar Dance Asia. I used to perform at events, went to Bulgaria. Bibi the Mela, on the stage, with, massive Bhangra bands, living a really good life, loving, pursuing my hobby at the age of like sort of 35. So I couldn't dance, let alone walk. And it got worse. I was off work for ages. And, you research MS and they say after 10 years, it becomes secondary progressive. But, you end up towards a wheelchair and you have all these thoughts like, is this my life? Like, am I going to literally be a vegetable at one point? And I've got 2 young kids. Like, how am I going to survive this? And I wasn't in the happiest of marriage. It's a very lonely marriage, I don't, it is what it is. It's people are sent to you for a reason. And I know why he was sent to me. I had to learn to love myself. I had to learn to say no to things. I had to learn boundaries. And I didn't have any of that in that marriage.
What is MS? Just for those who don't know.
Okay, so MS is a condition where your immune system attacks your own, the myelin around your nerves. So the myelin is like a protection around your nerves. And when it has that, it affects you neurologically in different areas. So you can lose your vision, you can lose your balance. You can get this thing called an MS hug, which literally feel this tightening around your rib cage. It's agony. Pins and needles, numbness, can't walk, you end up in a wheelchair. Several things happen to your body. Relapse can last between 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, a year. It depends. You go to hospital, you get intravenous steroids. That helps to kickstart the recovery. I didn't do that for my eye the first time because I was breastfeeding and I wouldn't be able to breastfeed. And there's all this pressure as a mum to breastfeed, it's like breast is best. And so I felt guilty being ill. I lived with a lot of guilt in my illness. I thought, sometimes you think, did I manifest this? Did I create this myself? What have I done to create the thought pattern that created this? But I've forgiven myself for it now. We're not perfect. And there were things that I had to learn in my journey that I understand now. Yeah, so coming back to 2016, someone mentioned a stem cell transplant, which can be done privately. They don't really do it in this country, but it's done in Russia and Mexico. And so I got myself onto the wait list. It was a 2-year wait list. It was an expensive treatment. My friends helped me raise the money for the treatment. It was amazing. We were going to do a sponsored run. I had loads of friends that come together. I said, look, let's just do this for you. Very fortunately, there was a cancellation, and within a few months, I was in Russia having the treatment. Met the most amazing doctor, hematologist, Dr. Fedorenko. I blogged about him. My blog is Niketa's Dance with Stem Cells. And he told me, he said 20% of the battle is in the brain. He's like, I can heal you and cure you, but your brain has got to be strong, it's got to be powerful. And so many wonderful things happened out there, like spiritually. I don't know, like people gave me books. I spent 4 weeks in a hospital room. I was in isolation for a quarter of that. Did a lot of reading. I sang. I learned to sing because I was by myself in a room. I had to do things. I had to be resourceful. It's like being in lockdown, but by yourself. Fortunately, we had technology, but I did. I even did yoga in my room. I had amazing conversations with nurses. My doctor, as I said, was very inspiring. He gave me the strength to fight this. I had chemo. I lost all my hair, and I came back. I remember I came back in a wheelchair because I was very weak. Got better slowly. Went back to work, relapsed again. July. So that was September 2016. July 2017, I was on a trampoline jumping. Actually climbed Mount Atlas a few months before. I went from not being able to walk to doing that. I set myself these challenges and my friends were like, you can do it. And I did that in Marrakesh. On a trampoline, suddenly started losing the ability to walk again. I used to get this relapse where it was like I was being electrocuted. I'd feel this intense nerve pain. I'd have to lie on the ground. Literally something was in my body was triggering this attack. I'd move my head, it would trigger it. And all I can explain is that it's like being electrocuted, and it's the worst agony you can experience. Nothing worked, morphine, tramadol. There was nothing that would help me with this pain. And I'd had a stem cell transplant. At that point, I was like, did it not work? And the NHS told me they'd made a mistake in the diagnosis. They gave me this blood test and I had something else, which was like MS. It's an antibody that my body produces called aquaporin 4, and it attacks my nerve cells. And that is what had caused this recent relapse. So they weren't sure whether I had MS and this, or whether the stem cell transplant cured the MS, and this is new. No one knows. It's a big mystery. No one knows to this day. But from then, during periods of emotional stress, I would relapse. So, for example, on a Monday, I'm on a treadmill running at the gym. And on Friday, I can't even walk. I've got a walking stick. I've just lost my balance. That's the extreme. It suddenly just hits you. One day you wake up and you can't see. I don't have full vision in this eye. I've lost it 3 times now. And it's literally, I can't even see my fingers in front of me. It's that bad. It's very scary. If you imagine covering your eye and walking around like that all day, you feel like you're in a bubble.
Shit.
You can't even when you see stairs, you can't even judge the step, how high it is. It's you feel dizzy all the time. And I lived a lot of my life, the last few years, on and off, having these relapses, experiencing this. And yeah, I went through quite a long divorce with lots of court battles back and forth. And every time there'd be a court case, I'd seem to relapse straight after. It's like the stress of it would trigger me. And I go to hospital, my neurologist is a professor of neurology. And he'd say, what's he done this time? As in the ex-husband, what's he done? And I'd say, yeah, we had this, went to court, this happened. He said this, I'm an empath naturally. I think I'm very emotional. I get very sensitive. And things get to me a lot more, I think, than a lot of people. That's just the way that I'm built, and it's something I work on all my life, to try and detach a lot more. But the worst thing that happened to me was in September 2020. I was teaching on a Friday, and I felt like something wasn't right with my legs. I was kind of walking, holding things. Saturday, I couldn't pee. Woke up, I couldn't empty my bladder. Went to hospital, and it was filling, and they had to give me a catheter. Went home with it for a few days. It's horrible, the most undignified thing. I can talk about it now because I'm fine now, but it was shit at the time. And by Tuesday, I was in hospital, paralyzed chest down, just wham, couldn't feel anything. Give you an example, I was video calling my daughter, and I went to reach something because my mind was telling me I could get it, and I just went flop on the floor, literally. And she saw that, and she was about maybe 9-10 years old. And it's the worst thing for you as a mum, for your child to see their mother fall off a bed. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, Ari. Yeah, mum's just playing around, and she could see the nurses all coming and picking me up and telling me off and saying, you've given us extra paperwork now. You should have called us if you wanted to reach that thing, they tell me off for that. At the same time, I remember like having that electric shock pain. It was so agonizing. I would literally be crying. I was crying. I remember all night in hospital, and the nurses just didn't know what to do. And I remember, and I'll say this, I was at the lowest point in my life. I couldn't even lift my leg up, literally. Imagine, just couldn't even lift my foot off the bed. I remember looking at the window, and I'd never do anything stupid. I've got kids, I love my kids. They're the reason I'm here today. But I remember looking at the window thinking, I know why you can't open that window. Because at that point, I just wanted to give up. It was shit. I'm freaking paralyzed. Like, and I've got this pain that's not going, and I just can't do this anymore. And I remember I have a lot of faith in God, literally just praying to God and saying, you know what, I surrender to you. Whatever you need to do to me, even if I've got to go through this, I just pray, give me the strength to get through this. Like, I am literally at rock bottom right now, and I need you to intervene and sort me out. And I literally said to God, you just sort me out. I've got 2 young kids. They need me. And this doctor came and bought me this tablets drug. It's crazy. And my pain just went. It was like incredible. Like for 7 years I suffered with this pain. It was like, wow, God, you help me. Like, and I really find that in times of real despair, I do this Jesus prayer, get my hands and knees. Once I went to do some homeless seva in Holborn, and this guy just came up to me, and I think he thought I needed to hear this, and he's like, Jesus loves you. And he's like, tonight, get down on your hands and knees and pray. And I was like, tried it. So whenever I'm having a really bad period in my life and I just need God, and nothing else is going to help me, like I'm spiraling, I literally get on my hands and knees and I pray, and I'm like, Jesus, this is what I need. This is what I want. If it's in your will, please make it happen, or give me the strength to go through it. Give me the tools, find a way. And it always works. I don't know how you feel about faith and if you believe in God.
No.
For me, it's like a big thing.
I have similar things. I remember I was in high school, and I was like to one of my friends, I was like, I get scared over like scary films and shit like that. I'm not good at horror and that. But there must have been something that came on, and he was like to me, mate, when you get home, yeah, if those thoughts keep coming up, I just want you to just think of any God that you follow or believe in, and just close your eyes and just keep saying God's name. Just keep saying God's name and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And I can't explain it. Like, people might say, look, it's all in your head. It's just a placebo or whatever. But like, whenever, what happened in that moment was, I just felt like my head was slowly starting to like vibrate. And really? I felt like things were just being pulled out. All of these dark thoughts and negative, scary things that I was just going to just kept, I was like, right, this shit works. Okay, cool, sweet. And then ever since then, like whenever I fear anything, whenever I feel like something's like bugging out, I do the same thing. And And I think over the years, if I look at it right now, it's like a form of meditation in my eyes. That whether or not I'm a big believer in God, but at the same time, for other people who listen to this might not be a believer,
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
form of like me training my mind to use this as a tool right now to stop thinking about these things. And it's crazy to see what actually felt like something like my head shaking and things just being pulled out. I
That's
don't know.
insane. I've never heard of that before.
It's so
I
weird.
love that though.
It's so weird, but like I remember watching like Paranormal Activity at when it first came out, and that scared the shit out of me. My door used to open and close randomly. It'd get cold at night.
Really?
It was just a draft, all right? But like,
You're like imagining things. Really
I
happening,
was
like-
petrified after seeing that the first time, and I'm thinking, what if I get pulled underneath the bed right now? I was like, nah, forget this, and just kept saying God's name, and it worked. And I suppose for people who don't believe in God, it's like just having your one thing you can just relate to, and that can stop you overthinking
That's
a
it. Like,
situation.
think of a happy place. Like, think of a
Yeah.
beach. If you like a beach, you know, that's what I always say. Like, I just change that. I'll talk about it later, but I have had to change my mindset a lot and really focus on not having any negative thoughts. And I have a reminder on my phone every hour to keep me on track. Like, when this alarm goes off, it reminds me if I'm having a negative, if I'm spiraling, or I'm like, say a positive affirmation, and I do, it's a full-time job. You can't just like think, right, I'll do it for a few days and then you're fine, you're healed. You have to work on yourself every day. So going back to being in hospital, I was in hospital for 5 weeks. It was just after lockdown, couldn't have visitors. It was hard. I had physios coming every day to teach me how to walk. Like, literally sitting on a bed and they're like, lift your foot up, lift the second foot. I had a Zimmer frame. I was busting a Zimmer frame at the age of like 40 something. Yeah, I lost, it was that dignity thing where, you know, you have to be washed in bed, have someone come in the shower and you can eventually walk and they can't leave you alone. It was shit. I was like, why am I going through this? This is embarrassing. It's humiliating. But I blogged about it. I was honest, shared my vulnerability. And I think it gave a lot of people strength. It puts things in perspective for some people, that we'll go through shit, you know, but it's how we deal with it. And I try to kind of laugh about it now. It's whatever. It is what it is. It happened. And, you know, I had to go through it. It's part of my journey, but it's maybe the person that I am. And
Yeah, it's part of your story, and I feel like we're 3.5 years later now from that time in
so
hospital.
I had this massive achievement for the Queen's Jubilee. If I told you this,
Yeah,
so I never dreamed of this. It's amazing. Like, this is how I believe in God, the universe sends you amazing things. So something bad happens, something good always happens after. And I really believe that. Like, I had to tell my story, but got the opportunity to dance with the Queen's Jubilee. So part of the parade. It was amazing, and there was lots of rehearsals. I got my strength back. Went back to my dancing, and I was on TV on the BBC and worldwide. That's one of my greatest achievements. Because at that point, I can't even walk, let alone dance. I used to teach Bollywood dance. I used to teach disabled adults.
Yeah.
That was my passion. I used to teach kids at school. I wanted to open up my own school. And to think, shit, am I ever going to even walk, let alone dance? Like, I remember to go out on nights out, and I'd be the first person on the dance floor and the last person to leave. And then I'd go out after, and I couldn't feel my feet. They were numb. So I'd try to dance and I'd wobble. Like, it was...
Yeah.
And people think you're drunk, and you're like, I nearly fell into someone's lap once, you know, like, it's things like that happen. I'm like, sorry, it's not that.
Yeah.
It's my MS. It's causing me to lose balance. And you just laugh about it. Like, otherwise, you just get depressed. Otherwise, you know, and it's finding ways to cope. Like, this is what it is.
As long as
I
you're
lost my balance.
Yeah.
Laugh about it. You don't feel shit about it. Your body can't, your brain can't control other parts of your body. Just accept it is what it is.
That's it. I'm glad you said that. I was going to ask you, are you accepting it, or are you just trying to like?
I've had
rub
to
it off?
accept it.
Yeah.
I had no choice.
It's mad.
Make peace with it.
Yeah, going like without going into depth, but more of like, say, the story of the ups and downs. You remind me of the analogy I tell my clients when it comes down to the fact that, like, you're trying to run before you can walk.
Yeah.
When they're healing, they're trying to get over a relationship, when it's a case of trying to just move forward in their personal relationships, when it comes to work, and their careers and their aspirations. And it's like, you've got to do the groundwork, and you've got to find a way of not giving up and powering through. And like right now, with everything you've been able to achieve with these relapses, it's a truly an incredible story, and something that should be highlighted. And I feel like there's probably some nuggets in there that people need to hear. And so I'm just going to ask you, I have a feeling, I know your children play a big part in this in regards to being the mother you want to be for them, but how did you specifically take everyone else out of the equation? How did you specifically find the strength not to just throw away the cards and accept life for being possibly in a wheelchair, in hospital with a Zimmer frame? How did you say?
Even when you say that,
no?
it makes me feel sick. I was there. It is my children. It is my family. Like, my parents are amazing people. Like, I should be looking after them. They're elderly. They're looking after me. So you want to be better for them as well. You don't want to see the pain in their eyes that their child is suffering.
Yeah.
You're always going to be your parents' child, aren't you? I had no choice. I had to provide for my children. I'm the main carer. I didn't have anyone that would take them to school. I didn't have anyone that would pay the bill. I mean, their dad gives something, but it wasn't enough. I didn't have a choice. I have to survive. It's just that instinct kicks in, right?
So sometimes I hear it from that rare example in regards to what you've gone through, but more of, let's say, the common examples that people go through right now and just trying to just heal and not give up and try and find a way through. You mentioned instinct. Like, some people today, as an example, will say to me, I've given up with dating. Apps are shit. The way the world works is terrible. Men are trash. Women don't give me the time.
I've gone through all that as well.
But
it is shit.
But it's like, you're telling me right now, instinctively, you're telling yourself, nah, I can't continue like this.
Do you know, there's a voice in me that always says, don't give up. Like, even with the whole dating thing, I have been through that. Most times I've felt the same. I'm like, just move on. Stop comparing. Like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop thinking that everything's going to be bad the next time as well. Like, just have some faith.
Yeah.
Have some trust. Like, surrender. Like, I say these affirmations every day. Like, I trust the process of life. All is well. I'm exactly where I need to be right now. Have no fear. Like, just get on with it. Like, there is no giving up in life, in my opinion. Like, you have to just keep moving on, because otherwise you give up on what?
But I agree. I am 100% with you. I also feel that it's with the self-development that you've done and with the self-development I've done, people might be like, yeah, it's easy for you lot to say that, Pri. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you don't know what I'm going through. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you're going through. You mentioned that you have to accept things as part of your journey. You've had to, in some other terms, move the needle forward, not just leave it where it's at. Like, you're consistently trying to just be better in this situation. You had to be there for your kids and your family. And albeit it seems like you're doing it for other people, I feel like for you personally, you wanted to be the best mother possible and the best daughter possible. So it wasn't for them, but for you internally, there's like another.
But also, I think it depends on your child. I had a very academic upbringing. I went to a very strict private school. We were told we were the top 5% of the population. There was always that pressure to achieve. I went to, good universities, had to get high, do well in my degree, had to get a good job. Like, there's been this consistent pressure for me to keep moving the next thing. And so if I just stop, that's just undone everything I've done, right? Like, what's the point?
But I love the fact that you say that, because I am with you. Like, if you just stop them, what is the point? And it's a case of, for some people right now, they're lost right now. People are lost in a journey where they look at their age as an indicator that they're failing in life. They look at their situation, they look at their physical status, and they're like, I might as well just give up. And it's a case of, no, like, life doesn't end for you here because of what God or whatever you believe in has set for you in regards to this challenge, this hurdle.
I think people are receptive to different things in life. So I used to read self-help books, watch self-help videos. I was naturally, as a child, more interested in reading books about self-development. I've been quite spiritual from a young age. So for me, my books used to help me. Like, I remember someone gave me a copy of The Secret in 2008 when I lost my balance. And she's like, so I remember like saying, I can see really well. And I believed it. And once you start seeing that you can manifest, which I've done, and it does work, you see the proof. So you live your life. Every time you spiral and have negative thought, you think, right, I'm going to attract more negativity. So you tell yourself, right, snap out of it, switch that negative thought into something positive, change that affirmation from I'm tired to I'm energetic, productive. You've got to do it like consistently, right? So if I give up, what is that going to achieve? Like, what's the point? And I know we've said that already, but like, you can't give up. And I know not everyone feels that way because they haven't had the tools that I've had from a young age where I've self-educated myself. I've done courses. And I feel bad when people feel that way, because I feel like there is so much that you can do for yourself. It's just whether you want to access it or not. And
That's
not
it.
everyone's receptive to it. People don't believe in manifesting. What's that, mamsy pam, whatever, or like, yeah, it's fine. I'm okay where I am. It is what it is. Or you get, there's people that there's energy vampires that just constantly moan and moan and moan, and you can see, I know why your life is like that, because you're just attracting more of what you're saying right here, right now, and you want to tell them so desperately, right, think positively, and then they're like, look at you like, what are you talking about? Because they're just not at that space. So I think it's really important that we're doing something like this to spread this, that you can turn your life around. I've been there, I've done it, but it takes a lot of work.
And so your motivation was obviously your kids and your family.
I had amazing friends. I'm very fortunate. God has blessed me with the most amazing humans in my life, like my support network. And they'd be like, one of my good friends when I was going through the health battle and the divorce, it was a tough place. And she's like, Nick, just imagine getting from the day from 8 till 10 at night, just focus on each hour. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I'd have people like that would check in on me. And like, so it wasn't just me. I was very fortunate and blessed. I had people in my life that cared enough to check in on me.
Yeah.
And make sure I was okay.
They were being present.
That's it. They're being present in my life.
Yeah.
And that's so important to have friends. Like I went to this seminar with Deepak Chopra recently. It's amazing. And it's all about anti-aging and what makes us live long. And like he talked about relationships being so important. It's even in the book, The Ikigai. I don't know if you've read that book. And it talks about, there's that Japanese island, isn't there, that people live till 120. And why do they live for so long? Because people surround themselves with loving people. It's all about not thinking your age, living your passion, your purpose, and dancing and living with like-minded people who are happy and having friends and relationships that can actually really enhance your health. Like just having loving people in your life, having a network of people is actually very healing.
What if you're unfortunate enough to be in circumstances where you can't break that because the people in your circle, i.e. your family, are just so negative to begin with?
Yeah, and I think we've all experienced that, haven't we? Most of us have in life experienced some negativity of family, and it is what it is. People act on from what they know, right?
Yeah, but how do you separate yourself from that then?
You have to make your life, like you have to go out and seek those friendships, whether it is through finding hobbies. You have to get yourself out there. It's not going to come to you. You have to do the work. You don't just do the work when you go to a job and have a job and earn a salary. You have to do the work on you as a person, as a human, right?
Yeah. See, the challenge I feel with that is it's a number of people who have hit me up and said, it's so easy for you to say that. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but you won't know until you put yourself in those scenarios and those circumstances. So my hobby right now is golf, right? And I will go and play with random people on the course. They're all members. I now have built new friendships and relationships when I'm out on the golf course with these new people who aren't in my inner circle. And I enjoy their company. I enjoy the motivation they give me to be a better player when I'm playing. And it's a case of that won't happen until you put yourself in those scenarios. But fortunately, I was able to find golf. Some people aren't able to find their hobby and their passion. Don't know where to start. Maybe they're in situations right now where they generally can't because their family, in some cases, forbid them from doing X, Y, Z activities.
And also some people have like social anxiety. Some people don't have that confidence to go out there. And I really get that. I know people that feel that way genuinely. They can't go somewhere alone.
Yeah.
Like I know you said you can travel alone. A lot of people, that would be someone's worst nightmare to go traveling alone. Like, I'd find that quite scary myself.
It's
I think
not
that's very
fun.
brave to do that.
It's not fun. My sister's been doing it for like a year. It's not. I think like the novelty with traveling alone is you're in your own freedom. You could do what you like. But if you're someone like me who enjoys company, if you're literally somewhere where no one else wants to communicate with you or speak to you, it can feel a bit like, well, now what? And I when I went to Thailand last year, I spent 2 weeks in Phuket by myself, just for like a relaxing therapeutic holiday. And yeah, it was a case of I'm in this nice hotel and there's couples all around me and I'm all alone. And it's like, I can't even like communicate with these people because it just feels so weird. And yeah. So I get it. I get it. What I would say though, in regards to when people are going through challenges and like in their scenarios, it's to try and understand that your circle might be very negative. You may not be able to escape that because they are next door to you. One thing you can do is learn to, a bit like what you said, accept people for who they are and not let that be a definition of you. Not let that define the kind of person you want to be. So when I have clients who tell me, yeah, my mum and dad are just so negative, my grandparents just give me stick all the time, and it's a case of take a step back, ask yourself the bigger picture. Why are you letting that bother you? Because they may never change. We could do all the work, me and you, right now, but I'm not coaching them.
We have to change the way we respond to those people.
Exactly. And also how we take on that information. Like, what are they really saying? They're trying to bring you down right now. Why? Because they feel that they're losing some sort of company. Your relationship isn't strong.
That's so what we just said there. Yeah. Why do they bring you down? Hurt people, right, as well. And often people aren't satisfied with their own lives, so they want to pick at someone else's life and make them feel crap because they're feeling crap. And this is so things don't get to me as much as they would have a few years ago because I've done a lot of work on myself, like a lot of self-work. I look in the mirror every day and I tell myself I love myself. I could not do that a few years ago. And when I started this course a year ago, I could not say I love you, Niketa. Like, I'd be like, what the hell? Like, what is this?
Does that work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I can say it so easily now and I feel good about it. I would say I'm amazing.
Yeah.
And I teach this. I teach mirror work to people. And the difference I've seen in people's lives, like, it also helps you manifest.
Yeah. How does it work? Because I've tried this with a few clients and they just break down. They look at themselves and
okay, so you have to have a tissue box there. Yeah. There's a lot of work. You start small. So you could say, I'm trying to love you. I'm trying my best to love you.
Yeah.
Just start whatever feels comfortable to say. You don't have to jump right in and say, I love you. I couldn't do that. But it's like, I'm willing to love you. I'm trying my best. I do love you. You're trying your best. Start with something easy and just work. And in the beginning, I set my alarm every day for an hour, every hour from like 9 till 9. I did it religiously on the spot. I had a really good teacher. And then you progress to other affirmations. So things like, I trust the process of life. I'm exactly where I need to be. Or there's something that's going on in your life at that time. And you say an affirmation for that. Like, it's just, I set an alarm every hour now. It goes off and reminds me if something's happening, then I need to say something to counteract that negative thought I might be having. Because even though you do all the work, you can still go backwards sometimes. It's like a full-time job.
So I'm a client of yours right now, hypothetically, and I'm struggling to do this mirror work. I've got this mirror right in front of me right now. And saying it just feels weird. Like, I'm laughing. Like, it just doesn't, it's just not hitting home.
It's fine, laugh. Whatever comes out, let it come out. It's fine, because eventually you can't laugh forever, can you? At some point, the laughing's going to stop, right? So, Priyesh, I'm trying to love you. This is a bit awkward, but I'm trying to love you. I'm doing my best. Yeah, I feel a bit silly right now, but I'm trying my best. That's all you can do.
Yeah. It's...
I feel a bit silly doing this, but it's okay. It's okay to feel silly.
Yeah, I feel like
just forgive yourself, accept it. It's like when you meditate and you have the thoughts and they say, let the thoughts just pass, right?
Yeah.
Just say it, think it, feel it. The worst thing to do is suppress it all, right? So if you're feeling silly, say you feel silly, and then move on and say, well, I'm trying my best. It will get easier, trust me.
I 100%, I agree with the process. I just feel like when someone listens to this and they're like, yeah, that shit ain't gonna work. Like, what are you talking about? And they just shrug their shoulders.
It does. I'm telling you now, we talked about negative people. When people put their shit on me sometimes, I just sit there and I'm like, I love and approve of myself. Like, someone's criticizing me. I don't really care. I love and approve of myself. And it just comes to me. But it's taken a whole year for me to get there. Like, consistency. Like, literally, you have to be on it.
Yeah.
You cannot give up. You have to be on it. You have to, every morning, I wake up, have my cup of tea in my conservatory, even in the cold, I sit there with my mirror. And even if I have a shit morning, I look like shit, my hair's a mess, I say, you're amazing. You know what? You do the best that you can. You always try your best. And you know what? You're exactly where you need to be. And today is going to be a good day. You're going to make it a good day.
Yeah.
You have to tell yourself that and then believe it, because the worst thing is saying, like, and then you're like, I don't believe this shit, right? You have to believe it. Feel it, because you said that there's vibrations.
So how do you believe it?
Because it's happened before. You've had those good days. So to remind yourself, you can have it. You ultimately create your own happiness. Whatever you're going through, it's how you view it, right?
Yeah. No.
I perceive it.
I know. I listen, you're preaching right now and I love it, because I'm like, sometimes it's difficult to try and articulate that to someone who generally just has a wall up. And so I've had it times where I've said to like clients, look, I think you're generally amazing. You have an abundance of energy. You're a bundle of joy. You bring all of that good stuff, but you can't see that. And it means nothing me saying it. Now, you're busy trying to chase validation from other people within your circle right now, yet you won't give it to yourself. What if I tell you that's never coming? Are you going to continue living life like this? And then it starts hitting slowly. And it's a bit like what you said. It's not easy to just flick that switch and start loving yourself unconditionally. it's not easy to start believing in yourself and backing yourself. If you look at situations where you possibly have in certain scenarios, i.e., you've cooked up a mean pasta, you know that's your go-to dish. You feel so confident in the kitchen when you
say
serve
I'm an
that
amazing cook. I love the fact that I made this. Just say it to yourself. Why? It's not coming from the ego. It's like, but imagine if you were a child. What would your mum say to you? Think of it like talk to your inner child.
Yeah.
Like praise yourself. Why do we not praise ourselves? Would we speak to another person like that? We wouldn't, would we? So why do we speak ourselves?
We wouldn't speak to our children like that.
Exactly. So why would you speak like that to yourself?
And like people just don't see that penny drop moment initially, and it does take a lot of work. Like I know what you're saying right now. I empathize with it a lot. I've trialed it out in different ways with my clients, and it's not easy for people to just learn and accept themselves, love themselves.
So it's like I'm trying. So I'm really trying.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. I'm trying. And keep trying.
Do you feel like people ever just try and do things versus actually trying to do inner work? So what I mean by that is like, say for instance, I feel insecure with the way I look, so I'm going to keep going to the gym. I'm trying. You don't understand. I'm in the gym 5 days a week. I'm working out. But when I look at myself, I still feel ugly. I still feel fat. I still feel too skinny.
But you can't say that. I don't even let myself say that. You just cannot say that.
Yeah.
And I've been there. Like I was on steroids for years. I was 2 stone heavy. I ballooned. I hated what I saw in the mirror. And I've gained weight now over Christmas. I don't feel great. But I'm just like, you know what? I'm slim toned and beautiful. I just say that. Because I'm manifesting it now. I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It's Christmas. And then I say, it's a Christmas period. We all put on a bit of weight.
But
I'll get there. I go to the gym and I will get there.
And what you're doing right now is accepting yourself for who you are and the time of the year.
That's it.
And it's
acceptance
me.
And surrender.
Yeah.
Both, right? You accept it and then you surrender to the powers above, to the universe, whoever, but believe that things will come your way, protein shakes, good diets, whatever, people that motivate you, personal coach. The universe will conspire to send you those things and people, those resources that you need to get to look how you want. So say it in the mirror, like, I am beautiful, I am sexy, I'm amazing. Like, say it. It takes work, I'm telling you. Like, I was at that stage like you were. I struggled with it. I was like, what the hell? I'm telling myself I love myself. I'm so egotistical. But it's okay. We should love ourselves. In Hinduism, we believe that we have God within us. So we love, why would we criticize the God within us?
I agree. It's such an empowering conversation because it's like in my.
So what's okay? So when someone compliments you, what do you say? Do you say, "Oh no, I don't look shit. My hair's like this"? Like, what do you say?
Thanks.
What do guys say? Oh, you do say that's great then.
Oh yeah, cool.
That is great.
Oh, yeah, cheers. And I smile off and people are like, you're gonna get too big headed now. So the common thing that gets thrown out is when people say, like, "Oh my god, you look like Drake." And the rest of the friends are like, "Don't say that."
You do look a bit like Drake.
Thank you.
You got Drake's smile. I can see it right now.
But that was like, I'll have friends who'll be like, "Oh, don't float his ego. He's just gonna just gas him up unintentionally." And I'm like, look, listen. If people want to say it, they want to say it. Do I feel like I look like Drake? Do I feel like I have similar characteristics?
Drake looks like you that way.
I look like Pri.
That's it.
I have a smile which is kind of similar. Like it's a nice compliment. And some people might say to me, "No, you don't," or "Yeah, you don't look that great," or "That doesn't suit you." That's fine. I like
their
it.
opinion. Who cares?
I'm in my orange hoodie today, right? And I've got cargos on, so I look quite chilled.
I could see you from really far. I was lost, wasn't I, as you know, so I could see you.
I'm very relaxed, and if someone says to me, "What's that?" I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. You're not meant to like it. I like it.
Yeah, it's like
hence why I'm wearing it."
I've had a couple of comments with the boots that I'm wearing today, which I like my boots, but I'm like, I love them. I don't really care what you think.
And it's like there's this fine balance where people are like, your ego's getting in the way versus like, I'm like, no, it really isn't. I'm honestly trying to be respectful and just saying that I love myself for who I am, and I've got myself to be in a place where you're going to have an opinion, but your opinion doesn't outweigh the way I look at myself or the way I view myself. So when it comes to like coaching clients, when it comes to my podcast, like this might not be everyone's cup of tea, the way this new studio looks, and I'll be like, mate, like go back to the old one, or it sounds a certain kind of way, or whatever. Cool. I'm not out here trying to please the world, because if I was trying to please the world, then I wouldn't be me. Like I'm going to understand that there are going to be some people that hate on what I'm doing. They don't truly get the Uncle Pri vibe, and that's okay.
And also, I don't know about you, but I used to be a real people pleaser. Like,
I am a people pleaser, but I please.
I still am partially, yeah.
But the differences with people pleasing is that if you're doing it for them, you're not, and you park everything that's important to you in your life right now, that's where it becomes a problem. So a lot of my clients are people pleasers, and I get that. I'm like, you've been nurtured in a way to like give, and that's fine.
And also, we feel good. I think we want that validation from people sometimes.
Of course.
Which
If
is
someone
normal.
asks me to do something and I'm not fully equipped to do it, no, sorry, I can't do it right now. Maybe I can do it later when I'm feeling a bit better. And if that's a problem, that's on you. I'm still willing to help, but I ain't helping you if I'm mentally not in the right space.
Exactly.
If I'm knackered, I can't drive you somewhere. Like, it doesn't make sense. And like, so people pleasing from a perspective where I put myself first and ask myself the question, what am I getting from this first before I do it? So I've had people that want to come on the podcast. I'm not going to just invite anyone now. And the reason why that is because I feel like it's trending in a way where the conversations I'm having are having more meaningful effects. I don't want it to be a case where people come here and just enjoy the space of being on the microphone. So like my friends, for instance, they want to come on and talk about football and stuff. I'm like, mate, we can have that conversation in the pub all the time. It doesn't need to be aired because it's not helping what I'm trying to do right now. But if we have a deep, meaningful conversation around things or analyze football from a different angle, sick, if it's going to add value.
So let's go back to mirror work. So when you look in the mirror, you try to say, I love you.
I do all the time.
And how do you feel when you say it?
I gas myself up. Like, and weirdly, I've been doing it before I actually started like coaching and motivational stuff. I used to look at myself in the mirror and just literally, I used to stare at myself when I used to like get quite emotional, quite angry. I'm like, I don't like what I'm looking at, but it's fine. And I've always got to a place where I've started to, I was going to say I've now got to a place where I'm like, it's okay. So part of my affirmations.
Exactly. It's okay, completely.
I ask myself, how are you feeling out of 10 today? 1 out of 10. And I've got affirmations for that particular ranking. So if I'm feeling like a 6 out of 10, okay, cool. It's all right, Prue. You're not feeling a 10 out of 10 today. And there's X, Y, and Z. Fine. Try this, try that, see how your day goes. But it's totally fine you feeling the way you are.
Just start saying, I'm doing my best. That's all I can do. I'm doing my best. And that's one of my affirmations. I look in the mirror and I say, I'm doing my best. Like there's times when you feel like you fail, you haven't been productive, you haven't got enough work done. And I'm like, I feel rubbish about myself. Like, because I'm so used to achieving. And then I feel rubbish and I feel like, I beat myself up if I don't achieve. And then I look at them and I'm like, you know what? You did your best.
Yeah.
You gave, there's a saying I saw something like, when you're feeling your 5%, but you give it your 100%, you're actually giving your 100%. I can't remember what it was. You can see what I mean.
Yeah.
But you can only give what you've got at the time, and you have to acknowledge that. And
it's that thing where it's
praise
like,
yourself for it. Why do we not do that? Why do we just beat ourselves up and make ourselves feel more crap? What is that going to achieve? What does that even achieve?
So when I watch like a lot of Stephen Bartlett's behind the scenes ones, he does it every Sunday, and I look at that calendar that he shows of what he's got planned, and I'm like, rah. If I ever want to be anything like you and having that kind of lifestyle, I'll have to like sack off a lot of the things I like doing right now.
With relationships as well, like he's got one now, hasn't he? But
he's
had to sacrifice even having like
he puts a lot of things aside for his company, for his businesses, for his individual endeavors, etc. And I'm like, if I need to stay in bed a little bit longer today just because my body is knackered, some people might say, like David Goggins would be like, no, you got to get up, you got to get through the pain. Yeah. But if I know it's not doing me anything, I love myself enough to say, no, that's fine. Give yourself that little bit of extra rest, because if you've got a client call later on and you're knackered, how does that work for you? Sometimes you need to put yourself first. And some people are nurtured in a way where they can just consistently go. The minute you start comparing yourself and asking yourself, shit, why am I not doing what he's doing? Yeah, you're in a problem. I don't want to be Stephen Bartlett. I don't want to be David Goggins. I don't want to be anyone else but myself. And my journey is going to be different. My success is going to be defined the way I want to define it. Exactly. This year, it's by X, Y, and Z. Next year, it could be something different. Like I said, I'm going to go travel for a bit, right? So what's going to happen in terms of content creation? What's going to happen in terms of podcasts? Are you going to do it from there remotely? Or are you just going to take a break from it? It's fine. It'll
come to you at the time. Like the answers will come, and that's it. That's what going with the flow literally is. Right? Surrendering. It's like, if it's meant to be, it will happen. If it's not, it won't. You'll find a studio somewhere. Someone will say, "Oh, there's this room here. That's do you want to use that?" Like it will just happen, and that's what you have to get in life. Like that flow of trusting. Yeah. Trusting the process.
I used to be so bugged out about like recording in the studio. Like I said, I've done checks to make sure all the cameras are working, but I used to feel like, oh shit, it doesn't look good. What if it looks blurry, this, that, and the other? Now it's a case of, you know what, if the material is amazing, it's gonna do well. And even if it doesn't do well,
Fuck
doesn't.
it.
It doesn't.
Yeah, that's what spiritual guru taught me the most amazing. She goes, just say fuck it in times of stress. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, it does. It's what's meant to be.
But what is doing well? What, a couple of numbers on a screen that tells you how many people have viewed it? What if one person looks at it right now?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
And they're like,
get something out of it. Even if one person does, you've made a difference.
I've had a number of people who have come on here who have then told me privately, Brie, you know, I've signed a number of people to work with me right now. And they said they heard it through the podcast and they felt inspired. I'm like, gang,
that's amazing.
That episode only got X number of views on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. Like, and you managed to sign someone? Yo, you're about to change someone's life right now.
Exactly.
In a short space of time, whether you're working them for a couple of months, whether it's a lifetime commitment, whatever it is, whether you've designed your business, etc. Like, how can I ever complain regardless to the views it gets? Like, it's not designed for me to get millions and millions and millions of views. Like, obviously, I want to try and inspire the world the best way I can. But Jay Shetty doesn't get millions of views every time you put something out.
Exactly. I remember like going out, because I do loads of videos on my Instagram, my page, like just self-help stuff. I remember like going and seeing people, like friends, I'm like, oh, I love that video you did, that the other one you did. And I was like, why don't you just like it then? Because I wanted to have the likes then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really care. It's fine. You saw it. You got something out of it. Doesn't matter. Like, people don't always like. They just scroll, right? And you see people, and then some people just don't have. They don't think to do it. Like, but they've got something out of it, and that's the most amazing thing, that they've learned something from. You think, wow, someone's actually listened to what I've said, and they've taken it on board, and it's helped them in their life, and that's serving people, right? Like Jay Shetty says, "Let wisdom go viral," which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, we're making his wisdom, our wisdom, go viral.
It's exactly what you said there. So many of my close friends would be like, "Oh my god, that episode! I listened to it." Whether they liked it, whether not, like, is irrelevant to me, because it's a case of now that next conversation I have with them. Yeah, mate, now it was interesting. Like, and we deep it a little bit more. They didn't like their Instagram rules. Maybe they didn't see it at the time. They didn't watch the YouTube video because they listened to it on a train journey. They had it downloaded on Spotify, whatever it is. Like, it was made available. They took it in. They took something from it. Whatever they do with it now is up to them. But I've been able to help in a certain way. Again, I have a lot of my close friends may not even like the stuff I put out there. They might think, Prue, you're talking shit because the way we know you were never like that. Well, maybe you don't know me right now.
I still feel that way about my friends. I really get that. But like, what do they think? But now I'm just like, I really don't care anymore. Like, I post silly stuff on my page. I'm like, I don't care. It was fun for me. I got something out of it. I enjoyed the fact that somebody will see that and it's going to help them. Like, I don't really care. 3 of my friends judge me for it. Because your friends wouldn't do that anyway, would they? Your friends wouldn't do that.
It's an interesting space. Like, I have some friends that still troll me, and they're doing it just purely from a banter perspective. Maybe they're just hating behind the scenes. I don't know. I won't deep it to some degree because I know my friends love me regardless, and some ways they are proud in the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing, and some that are not. That's totally cool. Again, I'm not meant to please everyone. I'm out here just doing me. But this has been interesting. I probably haven't been able to tackle some of the questions I would like to have asked you today, but
haven't we, a lot?
It happens every single time. But it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Big thank you. And I'm going to try and read a few of your blogs and understand more of your story. But one thing I would like to say to you is, throughout the rest of your journey, if you continue within this coaching space and motivational spaces, nurture what you've gone through in a way where people can take it on board and not give up. One of the books I read, I think one of my first ever books I read back in January 2019 was this book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod.
Okay.
And he talked about his journey, and like he had like an accident and then got himself back up and then had a medical condition, and like his morning routine and his mantra that he created, etc., got him to a place where he's able to still do the things he does right now. And it's a very, very inspiring story for me. So when I hear yours, I'm like, yeah, you got dealt bad hands, you got slapped in the face, and they said, nah, I mean, you found a way to keep going. And people get slapped in the face in certain different shapes and forms, whether it's heartbreak.
Never underestimate that morning routine.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to meditate, because that doesn't work for me. Even if it is putting on loud music that you love and having a dance, just raise your vibration first thing.
Yeah.
And then do something positive that makes you happy. If you can do the affirmations, it really does help. Say thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 things when you open your eyes, or each step you take to the bathroom, just say thank you.
Yeah.
For something, Be grateful, because that will immediately switch your mindset into something that's positive
Oh,
already.
for sure.
It's a
For
good
sure.
start to the day.
Yeah.
And then when you're brushing your teeth, do your mirror work.
But
I'll get that in.
Keep sharing your journey and the things you've gone through. Repetition is key, because someone's going to listen to this and someone's going to see it and be like, yeah, I've never experienced what she's gone through, but damn, am I hurting right now? And if she's able to find a way of going through, what has she done? How has she helped herself? What has she read? Who is she working with? I need to kind of follow in her steps. Not be her, but follow in her steps, to not give up right now. But where can everyone find you? That's the most important question.
At Niketa Bakani, I guess you'll put it on your...
Yeah, and you said you've got a blog page?
a blog, Niketa's Dance with Stem Cells. It's kind of linked to Facebook.
Okay.
I can give the details.
Yeah, send that all over and I'll pop it up on the screen when it comes up, and so it's all there. But no, big thank you for coming
so much
through.
for having me, and I just hope that someone that listens to this gets something out of it, even if it's one or two people.
No, definitely.
Do not give up. Whatever you're experiencing right now, there is a way, but you have to do the work to make it happen.
Oh, for sure. No, definitely. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again for listening. It's been your boy Uncle Pre. It's always a pleasure to be in the studio and record with my guests. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and if you like stuff like this, please do like, comment and subscribe. It helps me take the podcast to a place where I can definitely bring in more people that are going to resonate with you, whether it's their stories, whether it's their journey, whether it's just something that they're going through right now. So definitely like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, much appreciated you staying in here. I love everyone that comes through, and I love all the comments and feedback that I get, so keep that coming through. And yeah, it's been your boy Uncle Pre, and I'm signing out. Peace.